Peter MacQueen.
Peter, Peter McQueen, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was a fur trader in the Georgia, Alabama area,
Okay.
and he married a Creek lady, meaning the Creek Indians,
Yep.
that was in high stature within the tribes. Now, within a lot of Native American culture, your lineage falls through the maternal side instead of the paternal side of everything.
All right.
So, being she was a prenom predominant woman within the tribe, he actually being a Scotch descendant became the chief of the Creek Nation and was known through the Red Sticks band of the Creek Nation.
Hmm.
And he he has been a part of a lot of seeing how the natives were being treated. You know, his they were he was so close to the native side of it that even his sister went with him and became a part of the Creek Nation as well. They they were very, now we're talking, late 1700s, and they're seeing
Right.
how the Native Americans were being treated and that they needed to help them keep their traditions, keep their way of life. So they fought, hard against the military and the government's trying to remove the natives. So they kind of stood out as being very proactive with the tribes in and around the Alabama and Georgia area of the Creek Nation.
Hmm.
Um, of course, we all know how that went. The United States came to blows with them. There was times when they fought. Um, he actually did go up against um, Andrew Jackson at one time
No, yes.
and had a battle with him. Within some of them, they crossed paths to where, you know, we know he later became a president, but here he is. Here's the McQueen again, tied into something in history that is kind of overlooked and forgotten because it's a small part of the story. You you look, he was very big with the beliefs of Tecumseh of we have to remember our past. We have to remember where we came from.
Okay.
So he followed a lot of the beliefs with that side of the Native Americans that we're not going to intermingle too much with the white man ways. We want to keep our traditions the way they are. And it didn't clash. They didn't want to lose their lands. Um, he was a member or was part of a big fight in with the Red Sticks at southern Georgia, I believe, where they fought. I want to say it was Fort Mims, but I may be wrong with that. That it was a bloody battle. It was a big fight with the United States, and he fled to Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, yes.
Um, he stayed in Florida there and actually was able to pick up some supplies. And then on their way back into Alabama, they started raiding um, government um, depots, I guess you can say, and storage lines. They were starting to be the little raiders here and there of attacking,
Yep.
covertly, and got the military's attention again. And of course, they were pushed back to into Florida at a time to where Peter McQueen got he was almost to the point of being defeated, and the Seminoles tribes said, come into Florida. They found protection within there.
Yep.
Um, his sister, her her daughter's son was ended up being his Seminole name was Osceola, which
Yeah.
we all know was the chief of the Seminole tribe. Now, in Creek traditions with everything following the maternal line. The uncles taught the nephews how to be a man, how to be the ways of what you needed to do in life, your ways, your styles, how to handle yourself. So Peter McQueen was the one who actually would have been the one to teach Osceola
Oh, I
the
see.
ways of how to follow everything. So um, I often joke my brother is a big Florida Seminoles fan. So he has the little chest thumper that our family had a little tie-in to
Hmm.
who Osceola was as far as becoming the Seminoles. So
Yeah, that's awful neat. So it would be his mother's brothers. When you say uncles, it would be the maternal uncles.
yes,
For some reason, this is how that ran. That would basically raise up a young man rather than his own, rather than even his own father.
yes,
Because we're not even
yeah,
mentioning his father. We haven't even mentioned his father. So,
yeah. Everything
uh,
falls weirdly through with the uncles.
right.
You know, I found that interesting because we all have you know, growing up, you have that side of your family. You love your one uncle, your one cousin, your one someone who was always a person that you're always wanting to
Yeah.
learn something from or be a part of. And in their tradition, that was just the way
Hmm.
it was.
Right. Interesting. It's such a parallel that both of these McQueens so deeply embraced a complete other culture. These stories are completely different, but one was basically based on, well, financial gain, you might say,
Yeah,
another on preservation of his heritage and his tribe. Uh,
yeah,
but yet they
and
did embrace to the point of drawing blood and you name it about over it. They It wasn't an act on either of their parts to embrace this new culture of theirs. They completely and wholeheartedly did it, Tim.
yeah, and they were like I said, this was almost the exact same time frame. Um,
Yeah.
the difference is Don Juan was taking place along the eastern seaboard, whereas um Peter McQueen was around the Gulf more. It
Mm.
was lower Georgia, lower Alabama, the panhandle of Florida, so it's the same areas of the late 1700s that all this was taking place. And like I said, it's two completely different branches. One McQueen with John McQueen that come down from Pennsylvania through the Carolinas, and Peter McQueen, who his family actually came out of South Carolina through Georgia. So two completely different lines of McQueen's, same area, and two completely different stories.